Okay, Amanda, are you ready to go to Israel?
I am excited and ready to go.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight for our travel talk about Israel. We've been doing these travel talks since last spring, and this has probably been one of the most popular ones that we've put out there. So we're so glad to have you here tonight to hear a little bit about Israel. We'll get started. My name is Noam Meppen, and I'm the franchise partner and operator for Expedia Cruises in Scottsdale. And I'm joined by my colleague, Amanda Ward from Globus. And between the two of us, we're gonna tell you a little bit about traveling to Israel. Before we get into the topic of Israel, I'll tell you a little bit about Expedia Cruises. We are a full service travel agency that is part of the Expedia family. So we're located in the neighborhood in Scottsdale, and we're experts and committed to providing you great opportunity for travel by air, land, and sea. We are at our core a cruise travel agency, but we do and are very capable of managing all sorts of other leisure travel, including sending you to all-inclusive resorts, vacation packages, home rentals, and most importantly for tonight's discussion, motor coach tours. We are more than capable of helping you in person at our store, over the phone, online, or even over a Zoom call to give you personalized service and plan a great vacation for you. We're passionate travelers, and we're backed by the #1 name in travel, that being Expedia. So our store has been open for over 6 years. We're on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale. We have great online reviews because we do a great job for our clients every time. And a lot of our clients come back to us again and again because of the service that we provide. And we do try every day to be the best travel agency in our market. You could see our address and phone number, and we'd love to hear from you or see you in person. So it's not just me in this business. I have a team of over 24 vacation consultants, and they're here to help you plan a spectacular vacation experience, provide you great service, and be with you throughout all the steps in your travel planning process when you're thinking about where to go, putting together your plans while you're traveling, and making sure you get home safe and sound. They're here to be advocates and advisors throughout the travel planning process. So tonight we're here to talk about Israel, and Israel holds a special place in my heart. And I'm gonna just torture you with a couple of personal pictures. First time I ever went on a trip, the first time I ever went on an airplane actually was in 1986. And I went with my 2 brothers and my parents, and you can see us on the left. I'm the one in the yellow shirt. First time I ever went on a trip overseas was to Israel, and that's us in Jerusalem many decades ago. And there's me on the right again in 2012, the last time I was there. And in between the time that those 2 photos were taken, I spent my junior year of college studying in Jerusalem and have been back there several times. So it means a lot to me. I have family there. I speak Hebrew, and I know a lot about it and have been there many times, and I'm sure I will go there again and again. So very excited to tell you about Israel. I'm going to pass it on to Amanda now, and I'll be back to take you through some of the highlight spots that you're going to visit in the featured tour that we're going to talk about. But for now, I will pass it along to my capable colleague, Amanda.
Great, thank you, Noam. You know, I work for an amazing company that even through all of the chaos that has happened over the past, I guess we're a little over a year now, has really taken what we do very seriously, the safety of our passengers very seriously. And I'm always so excited to share with you what our company does and how we're really able to bring you the world. So our company has been around for over 90 years. And so I'm excited to talk to you about how we can bring Israel and some fantastic destinations to you. Next slide, please. All right, so when we're thinking about a vacation, you know, we always kind of think about the end product, how much fun we're gonna have, the cuisine we're gonna taste, the pictures we're gonna be able to share, those great souvenirs. But sometimes we forget about all the logistics and things that go to get to that point. You know, being able to plan the transportation, knowing where to go, knowing about parking, having those accommodations that are safe and comfortable and clean and giving you all the amenities that you want. Being able to fit in all of those sites that you've been waiting to see in person, making sure you get in at the right time, you don't have to wait in line. All of those factors can take up a lot of time and can be very stressful. With the Globus family of brands, we actually take care of all of that for you. We take care of those stressful planning hours and minutes and days, and we just allow you to go and have a great vacation. And that's what's really important, knowing you're going to be safe, taken care of, and get to have a wonderful time. Now, I'm going to talk about two of our products that we have today. The first is Globus. Our Globus product is first class touring, and that comes with a lot of inclusions. So we are always going to have first class, centrally located hotels. You're going to be right in the center of the action. We're going to have included excursions in all of these destinations. And one of the best part is not only are you seeing some of these great main sites, but you're doing it with VIP sightseeing. So you get to skip those general admission lines and get right in. That not only means you're not waiting out in the sun and the weather and all of that, but you're also getting to use the most of your time by seeing these sites. A lot of the inclusions that we have with our excursions are also going to be local favorites, because getting to see the Colosseum in Rome is great, but getting to see how the locals live in Italy and make their pasta is what's really going to be memorable. So we want to make sure that you're seeing all the sites and also understanding what that country really brings to the table socially, economically, and just immerse yourself. You're going to have a tour director that's with you from start to finish. These tour directors are incredible. They've been doing this for an average of 25 years. They're bilingual, their personalities are amazing. They absolutely make you fall in love with them. And they are going to give you some of the best recommendations for your free time. If you want to find the best restaurant, find the best shopping, that's what they're there for. Anytime you have questions or concerns, they're there to give you the helping hand. So it's a fantastic way to travel. We also know how important it is to stay connected right now, letting your friends and family know that you're having way more fun than them, but also that you're staying safe. So you're going to have free Wi-Fi available to you both in the motor coaches and at the hotels. So this is very important. You're going to be able to personalize your trip and have a great time. I also want to talk to you a little bit about Cosmos today. Now, Cosmos is going to be our budget-friendly product. So this product really opens up a lot of opportunity for you. If maybe you've been to one of these destinations before, you want to have some extra free time, you don't need to see all of those main sites again. Cosmos is a great option. You want to go on another trip throughout the year, maybe you're on a budget. This is going to be an excellent opportunity for you. So we're going to have really great innovative itineraries that allow you to go to destinations that are on your bucket list that maybe you thought you couldn't quite get to yet. We're going to have smart, clean, affordable hotels. They're not going to be quite as centrally located. They are going to be a little bit further out, but they're still going to be safe, wonderful hotels. You're going to get that included sightseeing available in all of the destinations, along with the VIP skip the line benefits. You'll have a tour director with you from start to finish, and you'll have plenty of free time to be able to get out there and explore these destinations. So keeping a lower budget is not a problem with our Cosmos itineraries. With everything that's going on in the world, I know that safety is on everybody's mind. So I did just want to touch base with you a little bit about the safety protocols that we have in place for our future travel in 2021. So we are going to be doing pre-health checks with everyone. Globus is going to be requiring that you have a negative COVID test or proof of vaccination. So that's going to be something to really reassure everybody that's traveling. There are going to be temperature checks throughout the trip, and all of our team members, our motor coach drivers, tour directors, and local guides, their health will be checked throughout the entire trip as well. We will be removing touch points. You will have access to our Go whisper machines that allow you to listen and take part in everything that you want without having to sacrifice social distancing or missing some of the great information your guides are giving you. So a lot of great ways that we are keeping you safe throughout the trip. Now, we're really excited to talk to you about Israel today. I mean, it is an incredible country where faith is so behind it. You can tell just from the flag itself, right? So this is a country in the Middle East that is actually only the size of New Jersey, and it has over 8 million people residing in it, which is absolutely incredible. You know, most of the residents only live near the Mediterranean Sea, so they really get to take advantage of that coastal terrain. But one of the amazing things about Israel as well is they have the snowy mountains in the north, the coastal, and then the desert in the south. So it is incredible. Not only do they have that natural beauty, but the history of Israel really brings together 3 major religions: Judaism, Christianity, and the Muslim religion. So it brings so much history to the table. Now with Globus and Cosmos, we know how important that is, not only to see the beauty, not only to see those amazing UNESCO heritage sites, but also to learn about what really brought all of this together within our faith. So we do have our standard classic Globus and Cosmos itineraries, along with our faith-based itineraries. So if you really want to focus on learning about how most Israel residents are believed to be descendants of Abraham, and learn about that history and how Israel became so populated after World War II as well, this is going to be a great way to get to have that easy experience in Israel. So let's talk about a couple of the itineraries out there. And I know Noam's going to give you some great information about these destinations. So this is our fascinating Israel. This is a 9-day itinerary, which is perfect. You can fit that from a weekend to a weekend if you want. And the great thing about this is this really gives you a base of what our tours are going to provide for you, because it covers so many of those main sites. So starting in Tel Aviv and ending in Jerusalem, you can see that you're actually going to get to go up into the north and down into the south to see all of that fantastic terrain. You're going to learn about the history of how the government has come together and the history of the faith behind it, seeing some of these amazing places like the Mount of Olives and learning about David's victory over Goliath. Even being able to try and sample some of the wonderful creations of the Trappist monks. So a lot of great opportunity here, getting to see those main sites, having the free time, getting to float in the Dead Sea and learning more about how salt is terrible for you and also makes you completely weightless. It's incredible. So many miracles happening in one spot. So we also have some small group discoveries I want to mention to you as well. So if you do want a more intimate experience, definitely ask your travel advisor about traveling on a small group discovery.
So I'm going to take everyone through some of the key highlights of this specific tour, and then Amanda will come back and share with you some of the other tours that Globus offers, but we wanted to highlight this one specifically. So I'm going to be your tour guide for the next few minutes and take you through some of the key highlights of this tour. So the first city I'm going to talk about is the ancient port city of Jaffa. So it's 4,000 years old and was mentioned in the Bible. Today it's an ancient town, and you can see in this picture, it's in the front of the picture, and in the back you see the skyscrapers of Tel Aviv. So it's a really interesting contrast to see these two in one picture. When I was there the last time, about 10 years ago, I was staying at a hotel, the Tel Aviv Hilton, which you can kind of see in the back of this picture. I rented a bicycle and I biked for, I don't know, it was about 4 or 5 miles down the coastline and had lunch at one of the restaurants here in the ancient city of Jaffa. So it's really great to be able to see these two and contrast them when you're in Tel Aviv. Next, we're going to go up the coast and head towards Haifa, and we're going to stop in a ancient port city called Caesarea. Now, Caesarea is about 2,000 years old, and it was built by King Herod. Herod was the ruler over Israel about 2,000 years ago when Israel was part of the Roman Empire. So this city was built as a tribute to Augustus Caesar, and there's an amphitheater, there's an aqueduct that you can see right along the shoreline. It's a really stunning and interesting place to visit. And so if you are going to Israel, I definitely would recommend a tour that visits Caesarea, because it is quite awesome to see. Next, as we head up north, we're going to go to the city of Haifa, which is the third largest city in Israel, and it's an important port city. In fact, one of the cruise lines just announced this week to be sailing out of Haifa later on this year. But one of the key features of the city is the Baha'i Shrine and Gardens. Baha'i is the fourth religion that has its headquarters in Israel, and it's very important for that religion as well. And you can see in this photo the shrine and the gardens on the mountainside of Mount Carmel, facing the water. And it's a very unique place to visit, which you'll go to when you're in Haifa. Now, there are also some other very important spots in the north of Israel, including the biblical city of Nazareth, which is described as the childhood home of Jesus up in the Galilee area. He's believed to have been there until about the age of 30. One of the places and sites you'll visit there is the Basilica of the Annunciation, where it's believed that the angel Gabriel visited Mary and told her that she would bear a son, who was Jesus. So that's Nazareth. Now, also in the north is the Sea of Galilee, and in this picture you can see the city Tiberias in the background. Now, it's not a very large body of water, but it is very important and very well known to anyone who's religious. So it's on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus delivered his sermons and performed many of the miracles mentioned in the New Testament, including in Capernaum, which is another town along the Sea of Galilee, which is home to 5 of the 12 disciples. And then the Church of Beatitudes, where Jesus performed and spoke the Sermon on the Mount, and he fed 5,000 of his followers with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. So a lot of Christian importance in this part of the tour. Next, we're going to head south down to Jerusalem, which is really the crown jewel of the entire Israel experience. It's the very holy city to the 3 great Western religions of the world, like Amanda mentioned. In this photo, you capture 2 of the very important places for 2 of those religions. In the foreground, you see the Western Wall, also known as the Wailing Wall. This was the only remaining remnants of the second great temple that was built 2,000 years ago, also by King Herod. And it's where Jews go to pray. They will write little messages on a small piece of paper and put it in the cracks in the wall as a sort of an express delivery to get their message to God. Now, in the background on the right-hand side, you see a golden dome. And that golden dome is over the holy rock, where it's believed that the Prophet Muhammad, who was the founder of Islam, descended into heaven. It's also the spot where Abraham is said to have taken his son to sacrifice to God. So there's lots of significance and meaning just in this one photo for both Jews and Muslims. And it's a very it's a sight to behold when you first see it. So I hope you'll all get that opportunity. Just a few steps away from there, literally it's like a 5-minute walk, is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is very important to Christianity. It's where the last 4 stops on the Via Dolorosa are, and it's the site where Jesus was crucified, buried, and resurrected. That's a very important place for Christians, and in fact, so much so that within the church, various sects of Christianity will control and manage different portions of the church, including the Greek Orthodox, the Roman Catholic, the Armenian Apostolic. So you'll learn and see that when you visit the Church of the Holy Sepulchre there in the old city of Jerusalem. Also, while you're in Jerusalem, you will take a day trip to Bethlehem and visit the Church of the Nativity, where Jesus was born in a cave. And it's over that grotto that this church was built, and it's the oldest continuously place of worship for Christianity in the Holy Land. So I think it'll be very meaningful for anyone who's Christian to visit the Church of the Nativity. Back in Jerusalem, some of the other things you'll see and do. This is an Israeli market. Sometimes in Arabic, it's referred to as a souk. In Hebrew, it's called a shuk. This is called Machane Yehuda, and it's where you can buy spices and fruits and vegetables. There are bakeries, and it's especially busy if you can go on a Friday morning, when all of the Jewish residents of Jerusalem are preparing for the Sabbath. They'll be going to the market and getting all their food so that they can prepare a Sabbath meal for their family. So it's very interesting if you have the chance to go. Very colorful and great experience with lots of scents and sounds to keep you captivated. One of the other places to visit in Jerusalem is the Israel Museum, and it is the largest museum in the world dedicated to Judaism and the state of Israel and the history of the Jewish people. In this picture, and this building is called the Shrine of the Book, and under that white onion dome is housed the Dead Sea Scrolls. You might have heard of them. Now, the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in a cave by the Dead Sea in 1946 and 1947 by a Bedouin shepherd. And those are some of the most ancient scrolls found that have the Old Testament and other writings that that talk about the Jewish history and culture. So it's very important, and you can see in the smaller picture inside the dome, and you can visit this when you go on most of the Globus tours, visit the Israel Museum. It's a very interesting place to visit. Next, and the final stop on my talk here of these destinations is the Dead Sea, like Amanda mentioned. So it is 1,400 feet below sea level. So it's actually the lowest land point on Earth. It is 10 times saltier than the ocean, which means that no plants or animals live in the water, which is how it's got its name, the Dead Sea. But there are a lot of salt and minerals on there. And in fact, in ancient times, as well as today, people will go to the Dead Sea for its healing properties, for skin ailments. There were in ancient times, people went there for those minerals and put the mud on the skin and floated in the water. And you get to do that too when you visit the Dead Sea with Globus. So I'm going to hand it back to Amanda, and then I'll be back at the end of our talk. Are you there, Amanda? You may have to unmute yourself.
Just kidding. Okay. So that was a great summary of what you're going to be able to see. Obviously, there's so much more, and the experience is incredible. So I do just want to point out to you some of our other itineraries that are going to really cover this destination. So the next one I'm going to point out to you is Journey Through the Holy Land with Globus. So this is very similar to the previous itinerary that we had looked at, Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, 9 days, but this is one of our faith-based itineraries. So this is really going to focus on the history that you've learned throughout maybe your faith or religion. So you are going to visit places that Noah mentioned, like the Church of Nativity, learn about Jesus delivering his sermon. All of that is really going to be able to come to life on our faith-based itineraries. So this is a perfect example of one of those great itineraries. All right, the next one I want to show you is Israel and the Wonders of Jordan. Being in this destination and being able to tack on, if you have some more time available, is a great opportunity for you to explore Jordan. So this is going to be Tel Aviv ending at the Dead Sea. So it does allow you to hit all of those great sites in Israel. And if you have that extra week available and getting over to see Jordan and some of the incredible sites there, Petra, one of the UNESCO World Sites, the history behind Petra, which I'll talk about a little later, but it is incredible. We're also going to include some of those local favorites. So instead of just seeing some of the cliff cities and seeing all of these amazing destinations, you're going to do it by cable car. You're going to do it and see it in different ways with the stories behind it, where Indiana Jones became famous in Petra, in the Rose City. So it is an incredible itinerary. So I just mentioned Petra. This is on a lot of people's bucket list. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And as you can see, this is a city literally built into the sandstone, which is red, pink, and white, creating this amazing color, which is why it is so well known as the Rose City. So this has been inhabited since prehistoric times. It's absolutely incredible. It's between the Red Sea and the Dead Sea, and the history behind it is still a bit of a mystery. You know, we wonder if there was really a treasury. The history of Moses being able to hit on the rock and the water come out for the Crusaders. It is an incredible sight to see. And with the desert surrounding it, all of the gorges, all of the cliffs that surround this city as well, the amount of beauty that you will be able to see in a destination like this is unlimited. All right, so this is another one of our faith-based itineraries. This is the Holy Land Discovery, and this is going to be specifically focusing on the Catholic history of the destination. So this is an 8-day itinerary, Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. As you can see, there's a theme there, but this is really going to focus on where Catholicism gets its background from this destination, learning about Jonah and the whale, getting to see where this took place, learning more about the Dead Sea Scrolls, when they were discovered, what they really meant to people and how they brought us all together. So a lot of great information there. The next itinerary I want to point out to you is Biblical Israel. So this is actually going to be a Protestant itinerary. So this is really going to focus on the Protestant faith and how Israel comes together with this. So I had mentioned before that Israel really is the center of 3 major faiths. And so you can really see that learning about your religion and the history of what you believe in really comes from Israel. So amazing stories here. Learning about the Church of Multiplication and how Jesus was able to feed 5,000 people with such a limited amount of food. Getting to learn more about the Southern Wall and what that means to people. The Western Wall, the holiest place to some. So it's very, very incredible to learn about these destinations and have that guidance on a tour. You're also able to extend your trip. We've been cooped up for so long, so a week might not be enough for you. So I do want to point out some of the ways that you can extend your itineraries. So since you are traveling to Israel, a great option to add on would be Jordan. Being able to add that onto either a Globus or a Cosmos itinerary is fantastic. You're going to be able to learn more about those biblical kingdoms like Moab and Gilead and learn about the Redstone city of Petra. Something that's very interesting too that I think was interesting for me, at least when I found out, was the Armenian population. That is a huge population in Jordan. So a lot of great Armenian sites there as well to take advantage of. The other great option is adding on Egypt. So Egypt is such an incredible destination. The history we could talk about for days and days. 30 centuries of civilization in Egypt, with Cairo being the biggest or the capital of Egypt and one of the largest cities in Africa itself. That really lets you know the vastness of Egypt. Learning about the pharaohs, learning about Upper and Southern Egypt and how they were able to come together, learning about the different rulings over Egypt from King Tut and Ramesses, Alexander the Great and Cleopatra. Getting to learn about that history is incredible. So many different parts of Egypt are really brought to life with an itinerary like this, with both land and sailing along the Nile. So just a small example of what you'll get to see in Egypt. You know, the Valley of the Kings, Giza, getting to see one of the largest pyramids that was built for a pharaoh that took 100,000 men and 20 years to build. So just imagining what that would have cost, what kind of sacrifice that would have been. And we don't really even know all of the history. So it really leads us to imagine and wonder what us as human beings are completely capable of. There's so much there. So the Valley of the Kings, a very popular, famous destination. This is actually located in the ancient necropolis of Thebes. So this at one point was the capital of Egypt. And this is where a lot of the tombs of the rulers are buried. There have been some tombs that already have been excavated and some that have not, and some that haven't even been discovered yet. So what's amazing about this is the time and the effort that the Egyptian culture valued for their dead. Painting the limestone walls with stories and pictures of the gods, so that entering the afterlife was something to be rejoiced and not feared. So an incredible, beautiful destination there. Luxor. So Luxor is a beautiful destination along the Nile River. And what it's most famous for are the temples that were built for the gods. So in Luxor, you can see here one of the temples with the Sphinx leading up to the temple to show a tribute to the gods. Water was very important to the Egyptians as well. So being next to water and having your temple built is incredible. This was the capital of Upper Egypt. So most of these were built parallel to the bank to also show that symmetrical representation. Incredible history behind that. And this is, I believe, the great temple of Ammon, to honor the god of Ammon. I mentioned earlier that with a Globus itinerary and Globus extension, you're able to sail along the Nile River. So this is the ship that we use for that itinerary. We do not own this ship, so it will be a Globus group with any other passengers. But as you can see, this is a significantly smaller ship. So it's going to give you that intimate experience. And we have Avalon Waterways. We are making sure that the standards and policies and everything are going to meet our Avalon Waterway standards with those inclusions, with the luxury, with the quality of staterooms. So all of that is going to be available to you on one of our great Egypt itineraries. I also want to mention to you our Globus Escapes. So we do have some fantastic Globus Escapes available. Our Globus Escapes are off-season travel. So these are going to be from November to March. The great thing about off-season travel, lower airfare rates. These price points are going to start at $8.99 per person with all of those great benefits that we talked about earlier with Globus. So a fantastic way to get to see these destinations. Less people. There's going to be less people in the off season. Those airfares are going to be less expensive. So these are going to be a great option for you to get back out there and start traveling. With everything that's happened in the world, making sure that we are giving back to these communities that we visit, making sure we're giving back to these destinations and keeping them as amazing and beautiful for future generations is very important to us at the Globus family. So these are just some of the organizations that we work with to help continue to keep the wildlife there for more viewings and tours in the future, helping local women with the landmine design in Southeast Asia be able to support their family and not have to travel on their own through different destinations. Make-A-Wish, being able to provide wonderful experiences for children in the Make-A-Wish program. So a lot of great opportunities. And on a number of these itineraries, if you book them, we will also make donations like the South African National Parks Honorary Rangers. We do give back for itineraries that are going to contribute to those organizations.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda. We really appreciate this tour of Israel and Egypt, and you were so generous to extend these promotions to our clients. So just to go over them, for any Globus Israel vacation that was mentioned today, you can save 5% for a 2021 departure and 10% for a 2022 departure. Those are for the Globus vacations, and then an exclusive booking offer for everyone who attended tonight. If you call us at Expedia, we will get you a savings of an additional $100 per person if you book within the next 2 weeks and deposit by March 17th. So that's very generous of you. Thank you, Amanda. And just to conclude things, we want to let you know we're going to continue these series of presentations. We have a few planned for the middle of March on the 16th and 17th with Royal Caribbean. And on April 20th, where we're going to cover Christmas Market River Cruises. You can sign up for any of these at www.cruiseshow.us, and they'll all be over Zoom just like this one was. And with that, we want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoyed this and learned something new, and hopefully whet your appetite to travel to Israel in the near future. We would love to help you plan that trip. If you have an Expedia Cruises vacation consultant, please contact them directly and they can get you this offer and help plan your amazing journey to Israel. Or you can give our store a call at the number on the screen, and we would love to help you send you on your amazing trip to Israel. And with that, thank you so much, Amanda. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Hope you have a good, safe evening and the rest of your week, and we hope to talk to you soon. Thank you. Good night, Amanda.
Thank you. Bye.